Chinese on you anymore, but I'd like to invite the Honourable Andrew Robb, Shadow Minister for Finance, Deregulation and Debt Reduction, representing the Leader of the Opposition, to support the Prime Minister's remarks.
Madam Liu Yendong and the many distinguished members of your delegation, Prime Minister, my many ministerial and parliamentary colleagues here this evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the opposition, it is my great privilege this evening to warmly welcome this anniversary, an anniversary which highlights 4 decades of quite dramatic, unbelievably dramatic development in the relationship between our two countries, to the point where China is among Australia's most important international partnerships. Australians are immensely impressed with China's great strides in recent decades. In just over 30 years, hundreds of millions of Chinese have prospered and increasingly enjoyed the freedoms, the self-esteem and the sense of fulfilment that comes with growth and development. The people of China have become better educated, more thoroughly informed and more widely travelled, as the Prime Minister has so clearly enunciated here tonight. And China is tracking to be the world's largest economy, perhaps within 2 decades. This has been a great watershed in human development, as well as one of the most remarkable economic transformations in human history. I think we're all privileged to be able to say we witnessed it, and many of us been a part of it in so many different ways. And while Australia's attitude on some issues may differ, even there, to China's, our approach to managing differences is anchored by respect and aims at being constructive and based on dialogue. At the same time, we recognise and acknowledge the vast improvement in living standards that Chinese people have enjoyed since the 1970s. Thanks to China, the world now enjoys reliable and inexpensive consumer goods, plus the benefits of selling its own products and services into an increasingly sophisticated Chinese market. Proudly, Australia has played an important part in this rise of China. Perhaps the export of iron ore has come to symbolise the strength of our modern-day relationship with China. It was September 1973 that Conzinc Rio Tinto of Australia made its first shipment of 22,000 tonnes of lump ore from Hamersley Basin in the Pilbara to China on the ship Stolt Vista. Since then, just a short time ago, Rio Tinto alone has exported well over 1 billion tonnes of iron ore to China. Now our iron ore furnishes much of China's steel, our coal and gas now powers much of its industry, and our universities and colleges help to train many of its people. Before entering the Parliament in 2004, I personally had the great experience of being a member of Chevron's investment team on the Gorgon gas project off the North West Shelf, and in that capacity had an involvement with the China National Offshore Oil Corporation, CNOOC, which led later to a Chinese commitment to buy $50 billion worth of natural gas from the project. And of course that CNOOC involvement just 10 short years ago was a forerunner of so many subsequent sales, investments and huge joint ventures from major Chinese energy and resource companies, irrevocably locking in the relationship we are celebrating here this evening. Yet it's important to appreciate that the relationship between our two countries hasn't simply been an economic one. Modern Australia is an immigrant society to which Chinese people have been coming almost since the foundation of European settlement in 1788. The founder of our wool industry, John MacArthur, employed Chinese. The first Chinese person to achieve some prominence was Maxi Ying, who ran a pub in Sydney in 1829. Thousands of Chinese joined the gold rushes from the 1850s, feeding Australia's first resources boom. By the time the 6 colonies formed a new Commonwealth at the turn of the last century, more than 100,000 Chinese had come to Australia. Over the past 50 years, hundreds of thousands of more Chinese people have settled in Australia, and today 700,000 Australians have Chinese ancestry. Their emphasis on the importance of family, hard work and education, their business acumen and their instinct, in the former Prime Minister Menzies' words, to, and I quote, "be lifters, not leaners," unquote, make them truly model citizens for Australia. These days, Australians of Chinese background abound in our professions and dominate the academic results of many of our best schools. Since Deng Xiaoping first introduced market reforms and opened China to the world, Australian governments of both sides have striven consistently to cultivate the best possible relations with China based on mutual trust and based on respect. Should the Coalition win the next election, we will again take that approach, as has this government. The opposition's parliamentary leader, Tony Abbott, regrets not being able to attend tonight due to overseas commitments, but he did ask me to tell you that, among other things, he looks forward to repeating an experience during a visit to the Sichuan province when he was Health Minister in the Howard government, where he was told he was the first Australian MP since Bob Hawke who was allowed to cuddle a baby panda bear. I think we saw that on the photographs here tonight too. Ladies and gentlemen, China is a good friend of Australia and it can be a better one. The Coalition joins with the Australian Government in acknowledging this significant anniversary and all those who made it happen, and we commit to doing whatever we can to build further on our great partnership with China. Thank you.